Okay, hi everyone. My name is Salvatore Pistoia-Reda. I'm a researcher at Università di Siena. I will be presenting today a joint work with Louise McNally of Universitat Pompeu Fabra, Barcelona. Our focus is on even-like particles. Now, even-like particles have been claimed traditionally to induce both a scalar and an additive presupposition. However, there is evidence that this claim could be wrong, and in particular that the additivity is not essential to even-like particles. An example of this is given in 1 when even is shown to be felicitous when interacting with incompatible alternatives. In particular, alternatives in 1 come from a rank order. So now I heard that Claire is doing great. She's an assistant professor, right? You can respond to this. You can reinforce this discourse by saying she's even an associate professor, but you cannot say she's also an associate professor. And you cannot say 1b precisely because alternatives coming from rank orders are incompatible and also is essentially an additive particle. And the felicity of even in this case shows that even is not inherently additive, to put it in Greenberg's words. Of course, this also relates to Larry Horn claim that rank orders draw on rhetorical rather than on informative, canonical scales. Now, Greenberg, in addition, notes that even-like particles seem to differ cross-linguistically in additivity. She considers Hebrew. We would like to add to this cross-linguistic picture with a specific focus on Italian, in particular with a specific focus on the distinction which is internal to scalar even-like particles in Italian between perfino and addirittura. Now, the former has been described as being inherently additive. The latter has been described as being additive compatible, which means not necessarily additive. So our observations are two. Here's the first observation. So addirittura, the same as even, as we just observed, unlike perfino, is felicitous with incompatible alternatives. So you have this behavior illustrated in 2, which is basically the Italian translation of 1. So, ho saputo dei successi di Chiara, è diventata professore associato, giusto? You can reinforce this discourse by saying è diventata addirittura ordinario, but you cannot say è diventata perfino ordinario, the same as you cannot say è diventata anche ordinario. Again, this shows that addirittura is a felicitous with incompatible alternatives, different from perfino. The second observation is that unlike even and perfino this time, addirittura is felicitous in parentheticals. Now, according to our understanding, this suggests that its alternatives, the alternatives of addirittura, need not share an open proposition associated with focus. So you have this behavior illustrated by 3. Ho saputo dei successi di Chiara, è diventata professore associato, giusto? You can say 3A, addirittura Chiara è diventata ordinario, but you cannot say 3B, perfino Chiara è diventata ordinaria, the same as you cannot say 4A with even, right? Now, according to our understanding, the combination of these two observations suggests that the following picture might give a current description of even-like particles, at least the subset that we considered in this contribution. So starting from perfino, we can observe that perfino requires additivity. So property 3, perfino requires that at least one other proposition in A which is to say the set of alternatives, is true. So unless this additive component and this additive presupposition is satisfied, perfino is not felicitous. Now, when it comes to even is of course compatible with additivity, but does not require additivity necessarily. And this is shown by the fact that you can have even associating felicitously with alternatives coming from rank orders. However, even, crucially, requires that the members of A must share an open proposition. This is something that also perfino, of course, requires. When it comes to addirittura, addirittura, of course, is compatible with additivity. Standard additivity is compatible with association with focus, but does not require additivity or association with focus, since, as we observed, addirittura is felicitous with in parentheticals, right? So what this means, according to us, is that the crucial requirement of addirittura is scalarity. So addirittura requires that P, the proposition with which addirittura associate, be the strongest alternative in the set of A of alternatives on scale S. So to conclude, our observation supports Greenberg's conclusion that not all scalar even-like particles are inherently additive, but extended by showing that in some cases the alternatives did not share an open proposition. We see also support for Horn's claim that some scalar alternatives are rhetorically rather than strictly informatively ordered, and we conjecture that a weaker notion of additivity could encompass both addirittura, even, and perfino. There is no time for that, so please ask us for details on these two last points.